my YouTube channel. Yeah, so today is a very special episode. It's my first episode having a guest on here. I know last episode I was like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do for the next topic. I was like trying to brainstorm everything. I was over at my friend Leah's house. We were talking about reflection and growth. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the perfect like topic for my next YouTube video. Just because you know on here, like, we are navigating through our what together, our what? Our 20s, okay? And I feel like a really big part of our 20s, or just life in general, is just reflection and growth. And I feel like it's really like crucial in your 20s because like your 20s is where you're basically kind of coming into who you are, like really forming your identity and your identity in this society and in the world that we're living in. And your 20s is a very transformative chapter. So this is honestly the perfect topic to get into. And yeah, my friend Aaleah here.
Hey!
To shine some more light on it and get a better perspective, or not a better perspective, but another perspective, and just get more insight on it as well. So, yes. So I'm going to pass the mic over to my friend Aaleah to let her do her little intro.
Okay, hey everybody. 20-somethings. My name is Aaleah Naomi, for those that know me. I'm a journalist based out here in Atlanta. I'm also a mental health advocate, artist, a podcast producer, and a fellow Black girl. And I'm actually getting to that point where my 20s are about to be over. But
no, you're not there yet. You're not.
I'm glad you invited me.
Thank you for coming. Okay, so I guess we're just gonna like dive straight into the topic. So like, what is reflection and like growth? Like, what do those two terms mean to you exactly?
So reflection and growth at this point in my life is being able to take a step back and evaluate your life.
Yeah.
And you have to intentionally be evaluating and seeking answers from within, from yourself. A lot of times, you know, people think that they know themselves, but really, it's like, it's like, you know, they get asked that question, oh, well, tell me about yourself in the interview, and they're like, it's that. So it's finding out who you are. It's reflecting, and it's creating a benchmark of how you started versus where you ended up, where you are now. And then where do you plan to go? What do I need to do? What kind of employee do I need to be? What kind of friend, what kind of sister, daughter do I need to be in order to get to that higher level of myself? So, I mean, it's kind of like a general way of viewing reflection.
Yeah. So how do you do your reflection?
How I reflect on my life? So for one, let's start by saying it took me a while to get to a point where I realized what I was doing was reflecting.
Yeah.
So growing up, I was really very much an introvert. People always say I was shy, but I was like, no, I'm not shy. You don't know. I don't want to talk to you maybe, but growing up from that point of view, always being the quiet person, I was always kind of self-conscious, and it took a while for me to step out of being self-conscious to being aware, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Being introspective versus being judgmental.
Yeah.
I think when you're reflecting, you have to come from a neutral place, allow yourself to open up and, you know, acknowledge those not so great feelings. Acknowledge, you know, the dark, I guess, your dark side. What people say your shadow self. Give all your feelings space to come forth and be identified, so that way you acknowledge it. You say, okay, I acknowledge I feel this way. How do I either change how I feel and cope with that, or do I embrace how I feel?
Yeah.
Oh, little guy, sorry.
We have video back. But yeah, exactly. And I really like how you made a big point with saying how it's more like introspection than like being judgmental. Because a lot of times I feel like sometimes when we're reflecting, we can kind of get a little judgmental and like, you know, start to form opinions like, oh, well, we shouldn't have done that. Oh, you're so stupid. Like, why'd you do this and that? And like, you don't want to create that negative space for yourself, or you know, or give yourself negative energy when you're being judgmental. To where it's like, if you're reflecting, you're just being more introspective. You're just like, okay, you're just holding space for it, basically. You know, you're acknowledging it, not discarding it. You're just letting it be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there are multiple ways where you can have that with yourself, right?
Yeah.
Where you can trust yourself and not be judgmental. There are, I mean, you can do inner child work.
Yeah.
That's a form of reflection.
Mm-hmm.
Therapy, that is a form of reflection.
Mm-hmm.
Meditation, you can go on walks. It's just really getting to know yourself, being alone, being okay, embracing being in, I don't want to say isolation, but yeah, just being your own company.
Yeah. And that's like, I think that's kind of hard for people to do. And I feel like with COVID, I think it was brought to a lot of people's attention that was like, they were in that predicament, and they just didn't realize it until like we were forced to be alone. We're like, damn, how do I be alone? You know, like.
That was interesting, wasn't it?
Yes,
People
girl.
were freaking out. I know the pandemic was hard for everybody. Being trapped in the house was hard. You know, people facing housing, rent issues, not having work. I have to say that I actually benefited from having that period alone with myself.
Yeah.
And having that isolation. I can say I embraced it. I embraced it probably more than other people did. Because I'm more of a loner naturally already. So I was okay being in the house for a little bit. But I do understand what you're saying. Like, people kind of going haywire because they're not used to that. They don't allow themselves that time to do that.
Yes. And it's so important because, like, if you don't like your own company, how can you expect anyone else to like your own company? You know what I'm saying? So, like, it's just, I'm such a big advocate of, like, really focusing on your own relationship because that affects other relationships, you know? So I'm such a big advocate on that. But why do you feel like reflection is important?
Well, it's just like you were saying, because when you reflect, you learn how you want to show up in the world. How do you want to show up for your family, your friends, at work? Also, it's just sometimes that can help you with your emotional state as well.
True.
Just, you know, staying balanced, being able to identify the feelings that you're feeling and give it a name.
Yeah.
And that helps stave off symptoms of depression, symptoms of anxiety. When you learn how to be comfortable just in your own skin and just sitting with yourself, like you say, you know, how can you be a good friend if you can't be a good friend to yourself? How can you be comfortable going anywhere and having new experiences, going out places alone, if you're never alone with yourself?
Yeah.
It all, you know, there's a Jill Scott song called "One Is the Magic Number," okay? It's just me, alright? At the end of the day, you came into this world alone, you're gonna leave alone.
Okay, that part right there.
So, you know, you gotta be strong and show up for yourself.
Yeah.
You can't build a life on a facade. You gotta, you know, let people know what it is. This is who I am. I've done the work.
Okay. Have you? Oh, it shows that. Okay.
Yes.
So, I guess like, so when did you really kind of start noticing like you were kind of like being more intentional with your reflecting, you know, like actively seeking or like, yeah, being more intentional with your reflection, you know what I'm saying?
That's a good question. Let me preface this by saying it was a journey.
Yeah.
It was hard for a while. And I know I say be intentional, and it sounds so simple. Just do it with intention, and it will work. Even if you are starting out and doing it with intention, a lot of it I think comes with lived experience too.
Yeah.
So I'm 27, and I started to reflect more on my life and who I want to be when I first got to college. And I was like 18, 19. And at that point, it was hard.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of judgment there. It was very much asking, why am I like this? And after a while, you know, I just lived life, you know. I've worked multiple jobs, been around different people who allowed me to learn different aspects of myself and what I will accept, what my boundaries are, what I won't accept, what my buttons are. And then it just takes time. Some people, you know, they think maybe they have like a bad habit or something.
Oh, sorry. Bad habit. Bad habit. They have a bad habit.
Yeah.
Okay, camera
Okay.
2's back. Okay.
So some people may think, oh well, let's say for example you're quiet,
Yeah.
and you feel like that it hinders a lot of friendship development within your life. For me, I was quiet. I thought, okay, maybe I should try this. Maybe I should be more wild. Maybe I should dance on tables and be that kind of girl. After a while, it's like you realize, stop forcing yourself.
Yes.
Stop forcing yourself. So I guess another part of reflecting is you learn to accept the things about yourself that you can't change.
Yeah. Yeah, that part. Now, 'cause I know that's something I'm like coming to terms with, or like I'm realizing, you know, and I'm definitely like yeah, coming to terms with, honestly. Because there's some parts of my personality where I'm like, oh, so I wish it could be a little more like outgoing, and be a little more like just yeah, outgoing. And like I'll try to. I'm like, no, Small, that's just not me. Like I'm just not outgoing in that way. Like I'm still very an outgoing person, but just not super outgoing. Like I'm just a little like a mild form, and I'm okay with that. I don't have to be so extra and uppity and everything like the party.
Well, you know what you like.
Yeah.
You know what will make you comfortable, and you're okay with having the environment adapt to you, rather you adapting to your environment and everybody in it. And that's the thing, is your shortcomings sometimes can be your strength.
Yeah.
And you don't even realize it until you just, you know, you've lived life and you've done that reflecting work. Like for me, just being quiet, I've always thought, you know, the person I am never really matched with the person I saw myself being when I grew up. Like I want to be rich, you know, I want to be that girl. But you know, I'm still quiet and I'm still being that girl.
Period.
Okay?
Yes.
So, you know, also I will say this, if you are an introvert, you're finding yourself to be more of a quiet person, that works better in your favor. It works better because you think before you talk. There have been so many times where I wanted to blurt out and say something, but given who I am, I just kind of wait for an opportunity to kind of present itself. Not always. Sometimes you have to assert yourself.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's better to wait because, you know, somebody could say something and it turned out you didn't want to. I'm glad I wasn't the one to say it. I was thinking it, but.
Yeah, I know what you mean, because I do that to where like, I am that person, it's like, then I get all the heat, it's like, goddamn, you know?
And then people also, there's kind of like this mystery surrounding you. It's like, oh, like I don't want to try her. Like, it's also like a form of protection too.
Yeah.
But you can always, you know, you can live in that facade. You can let that dictate who you are, but you know, you're just being comfortable. You're just being yourself, and then you can be just as comfortable showing people who you are. That comes with reflecting and knowing who you are.
Yes. So, like, what ways have you seen like yourself grown?
So, definitely, as a person who had to go through years of therapy, and I think that's an ongoing process. I don't think you just go to therapy and you just stop. It's an ongoing thing. Your life is always changing, so you should always have somebody to talk to about that.
Yeah.
But it was definitely going to therapy helped me to see things from other people's perspective.
Yeah.
I guess when you get into that mode where you're constantly in your head, you know, that's that judgment where you're living in fear, you're living in, you know, constant ridicule of every action that you make. You're always in your head a lot, so that kind of prohibits you from seeing things from other people's perspective.
Yes, definitely for sure.
I would definitely say things to people and not realize what I was saying. So, for example, if I was at work and I just was speaking bluntly, or I was trying to get something on my chest or address a certain issue, I would say it in a way that would be like, and I would talk to my therapist about it, and he would kind of call me out. He's like, "Oh, you realize you just told your manager to basically go fuck himself?" And I was like, I think I did do that, didn't I? Like, not necessarily that, but if that makes sense, it's like, yeah, like, you have to think about your words, how they come out, how they may affect people. So it definitely helped me with communicating better. I'm able to accept things and adapt, you know. For a long time, I've always been a perfectionist. And if things don't go a certain way, then, you know, they're just not meant to be. But I'm very much just, you know, just relax. I don't have as much anxiety anymore.
Yeah.
I don't get as angry as easily as I used to because I couldn't express how I was feeling, and relying on the other person to decode it for me, you know? So I learned to take responsibility for me and how I feel and how I show up in the world, and it's done a number of great things. I'm able to, you know, talk to people and tell them when they cross the boundary with me. And do it in a productive and respectful way. So there's a lot of benefits to it, but it's going to be different based on each person. And I think each person owes it to themselves to.
Hold on, you lost camera one.
I cannot. Yo, these cameras.
Listen, okay, now we're back. Video's back.
There has to be a setting we can do where it doesn't. Only the last 2 minutes, but so yeah. So I think you owe it to yourself to find out what it is you need.
Yeah.
And then give yourself time. It's a journey. You might be able to only focus on one or two things, and that could take, a year or so.
Yeah.
There's no set time. Everything happens in its divine time. And I will say this, when it comes to reflection, don't force it.
Yeah.
Things happen naturally, and I know it's hard if you're probably at this stage in your life, but you gotta trust. You gotta trust the process.
Yes, Carly. And that part, it could be hard because it's like there's certain times in the process where you're like, this is really dark. Things look really bleak right now. Like, I don't see this going better. Like, how can it get better? But it's like you really have to trust, because it's just like the universe is like, girlie, listen, I know you're down right now, but I literally have a win for you right around the corner. Like, just hold on. Like, I literally see everything. You only have like a small vantage point. I see everything. So like, please just hold on. Or it's like, when I think about stuff like that, it's like I'm a server, and so there are times where my customers are like, yeah, can you bring this, give me some more rolls? I'm like, yeah, of course. I have a full section. I have 5 other tables, and so like I'm in the back. I'm getting the rolls, but I'm also doing other stuff too, but they don't see all of that. And then I come back to the table, it's been like maybe 10 minutes, or to me it might seem like a minute, but to them it's been like 10, 15 minutes. They're like, oh, we asked about this like 10 minutes ago. I'm like, okay, I get it. I literally had everything else. I had like multiple stuff to do while I was in the back. And that's how I view like the universe when it comes to like, it's like making plans for me, like, putting things in motion for me. It's like doing 10 million things at once. It has me. It's gonna take a minute. I just gotta wait. Gotta be patient. And so usually, I always like use that analogy when I'm like, kind of in like a dark moment, or I feel like, okay, how's it gonna get better? I'm like, so just hold on. It's literally working out for you. Just hold on. Just wait. And then like, I'm really getting big into like angel numbers and everything, and I'll literally like, the next few minutes I'll see like 511, and that basically means like you're closer than you think. So
okay.
Yes.
Ooh, okay. Yes. I definitely want to talk about spirituality, but I do want to. You said something, and it brought up a good point that I want to make. So also be aware that this life, being here, having this human experience, nothing is an absolute.
Yeah.
So like you were saying, the example of you being a server, there's you as a server, and then there's the customer. When you start figuring out how to navigate your life more smoothly and learn more about yourself and become more self-aware, you're able to accept that there are two truths existing at the same time.
Yeah.
So there's your experience, you're the server, and at the same time, you can accept and know that what they're experiencing is also their truth, right? And now, I guess if you want to apply that to, let's say a family situation, right? Where, one person feels like they're not being heard and their needs aren't being met. Maybe you feel like the scapegoat of your family.
Yeah.
I know me, I felt like a scapegoat of my family. But for a long time, that was just my story. I'm the scapegoat of the family, I'm the scapegoat. And sometimes I still feel like that. But also, I realized I grew up in a single parent household.
Yeah.
I had a single black mother. And I know that she couldn't do everything, but she did her damn best. And I have to acknowledge that. And appreciate, maybe I didn't have this, but I appreciate that she gave me this instead. And look at, just have gratitude. Have gratitude for what you have in your life now. And acknowledge that, sometimes you play a role in things.
Yeah, okay, that part.
So, sometimes you don't make it easy always for people to get along with you, and find out why.
Yeah.
And that's all it is.
Oh, hold on, we want camera too. Wait. Okay.
Okay.
Camera 2 is back. We're back on the ground.
There you go. So yeah, you have to realize that, find out why it is maybe you showed up in that situation that way.
Yeah.
And you'd be able to understand why they showed up that way.
True.
You gotta also think of other people's lives. Like, hey, how was their work situation? Maybe something happened during their day. You still maintain your boundaries. You can't let people talk to you any kind of way, but you can definitely level with them human to human and see where they're coming from.
Yes, definitely for sure. Yeah, definitely that is a big part of reflection, self-accountability, or self-accountable for the roles you might have played into some of your misfortune and when things just didn't go quite as how you wanted them. That's definitely a big part of just, I think, growing as an individual in general too, is just owning up to your bullshit too, your...
We all have it.
Okay. We all do. We're human. That's part of being human, morality. And I think we just have to stop running away from it and just embrace it. And I feel like, to me, if we all were able to just, make peace with who we are, things we've done, the not so glam, we would all just be more at peace, There wouldn't be so much strife and so much disagreement and stuff like that. And crap, there was another point you made. I lost it. It's okay.
I want to say I apologize for all the flies that are in here right now. I don't know why, because my house is clean, y'all. It's not dirty, but I got hella trees back here and flies and bugs. They just be taking over sometimes.
Girl, I think it's summertime because they just want to be inside with the cool air and not with the hot air.
They don't pay.
And before we had modern civilization, y'all were outside.
Y'all were outside. Why are you inside?
That part. I mean, same thing you said about us too, but we're not the subject, okay? Yeah. But yeah, and definitely too, holding space for other people. Cause you said, there's multiple truths that can be coexist at the same time. I think that was something that took me a hard time to kind of wrap my head around. I just always felt no, my experience is true. What are they talking about? What do you mean this and that? And everyone has their own perspective, their own point of view, and how they have their own interpretation of events. And it's he said, she said. They're probably telling the exact same story, it's just from their interpretation. And there's just one overall, okay, this is really what happened, objectivity. But we don't hold that power. That's the universe, that's God, source, whoever you wanna, whatever name you wanna.
Yeah.
Yes.
I will say that once you get to a certain point in life where you just experience enough of the BS, you kind of just skip all of that. It's okay, you're upset, I'm upset. I don't want to go over what made us upset. Let's talk about how you feel. I'm going to talk about how I feel. And we're going to talk about how to get through this. Because that's having a mature conversation. You're going to make people mad. You're going to make them upset. You got to accept that. It's how you handle it and how you come and address it.
Yes, I know one of my best friends, me and her, I wouldn't say we always butt heads, but we're literally like sisters. We will fight, but at the end of the day, we have each other's back. And when we do have issues or problems, I know for me it may take me a while to bring them to attention, but that's just how I am. I have to take that time to reflect and to figure out, okay, how exactly do I feel? Why do I feel this way? So that when I do come to her about it, I know exactly my stance, where I feel, where I stand on everything. And so it's a much more a productive conversation, you know? And so, yeah, with her, just our friendship in general, that honestly kind of gives me like hope, I would say, definitely when it comes to dating, because I'm like, okay, well, if me and her, if I don't have to communicate my feelings, my issues or problems with her, and vice versa, I have nothing to worry about when it comes to a relationship. Because at the end of the day, like, I definitely want to be with my friend. I want to date my friend, my best friend, and so it's gonna be easy to bring up conversations like that because they're my best friend.
Yeah, yeah, and it's good that you know that about yourself. That you know it takes you time to reflect and to form a response. Now, have you told them that?
Who, my friend? Yes, yeah.
So that's another thing. You get to, you know, kind of give people a heads up.
Yeah.
This is how I am in my relationships. It's not bad, but I'm just letting you know that that's how I am. Because you may be different. And you may not realize that some people need time. I'm that type of person.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, because I definitely, like, when it comes to like reflection and growth, definitely more on the growth part, you really just start to see like, okay, not everyone thinks quite the same way as I do, or they operate in the same way, or they handle things the same way. And that's definitely something I've been realizing starting in my 20s. Really just like, honestly, just like after like 18, like after high school, like, I'm just like, okay, wow. Somehow, like, people really do not think like you. Like, there's a lot of perspectives out there.
Yes. You know, people have their own experiences. They have their traumas. They've had, you know, their down moments. They could be in, you know, a rock bottom situation right now and just kind of playing it off or not. You never know.
Yeah.
And also, you have to keep in mind what you do impacts other people. That's another thing I realized when I got grown. Like, your actions have consequences.
Like, let's be real.
Now, like, you're in high school or something, you probably don't think about it like this, but you're coming out, you're getting into college, you're gonna have a rude awakening if this is something that you are not conscious of already.
Yeah.
You gotta learn that your actions have consequences. And, you know, sometimes, some people do, they know that already.
Yeah.
Some people learn the hard way, you know, just through life. And it's okay. It's okay if you end up in a situation. It's not the end of the world. Some things are just there to be a lesson.
Yeah.
And when you live your life as if you're here to learn and not as I'm here to be this person. I'm not here to, you know, be this cashier at this job.
Yeah.
I'm not here just to be your child. I'm not here just to be your friend or whatever. Everything is a lesson. And the universe or God, whoever, your higher being, is always conspiring for your own benefit. You always have to, that's where that trust comes in. It's like, okay, I'm going through this. It sucks. I can acknowledge that.
Oh my god, we lost camera. I can acknowledge that, going through it. Okay.
Okay. So, and you acknowledge that this is a negative feeling that I'm feeling, and you welcome that.
Yeah.
See what it's trying to tell you. Because let's say you get fired from the job. You know, that could, you may have to address that or whatever. You might have to do something that's saying, but there's always a way you can get around it. You will find a next job. That's not going to be, troubles don't last always.
No.
As they say. They don't. So even if you have a negative experience, sometimes they just happen, they can't be avoided.
Yeah.
And you have to be there for yourself, and sometimes you're the only person there for yourself.
Yes, and that can be hard. Like going through like a down moment by yourself, it can be really hard, and it makes it even more like heavier. Cause like, yes, you usually feel like the full weight, you know. But one thing that definitely gets me through like downtime and stuff like that, when I feel like, damn, like why does this happen to me? Like I can't handle this. But like one thing that my mom definitely kind of like really a big motto she kind of instilled into me is that like God gives you what you can handle. So currently, all this misfortune, all this bad shit is happening to me. God clearly is I'm capable. I'm strong enough to handle it. So there's definitely a way for me to get through it. It's already formed. I just gotta like figure it out.
But things will get less heavy when you stop thinking that this is happening to me and that this is happening for me.
Yeah.
Even if it's a situation that you put yourself in, you might need that. Mm-hmm. You might need to know that so you know how to not put yourself in that situation again.
Yes.
And so instead of beating yourself up, it could be hard. You could fall on financial strife because of it.
Yeah.
But still, you trust yourself. You trust that things are going to work themselves out eventually. Mm-hmm. And you just take the lesson and take your time. The only way out is through. Yeah. You get through it. Mm-hmm. And you keep your chin up and realize that let me take this moment and do that reflection.
Yeah.
That's when you are in moments like that, that's probably when you need to reflect the most because you haven't been addressing that.
Yeah.
And you've been neglecting parts of yourself. Mm-hmm. And that's when things crumble. So you have to actually build a routine of checking in with yourself. Mm-hmm. So you don't implode.
Oh, yes, that part.
So, and that takes time, that takes learning.
Yeah, trial and error for sure. And like you definitely have to give yourself grace and like space when you're going through that. It took me. I'm still in that process. There's definitely like certain I feel like emotions I definitely have gotten a better mastering over and better like intuition knowing, okay, Simone, you're starting to feel a little angsty or a little angry. Let's go step away and cool down a little bit, or let's go and do this. Like, and better how to cater to me and my needs and everything, and figure out like ways to kind of work through some of my things,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it can be something small. It's like, oh, am I hungry right now? Mm-hmm. Have I been hydrating myself? Have I been
getting enough sleep, eating properly, going outside, doing physical activity,
Because those things add up. And if you don't realize, if you never even done the self-care to see how it makes a difference in your life, you're going to continue living in that negative spiral mode. But let's say you do it, you realize the benefit of it, even if you fall off from it, you at least can say, hey, maybe I can do this because I know this makes me feel better when I feel this negative emotion.
Yeah.
And what was I going to say? But yeah, you have to, because when you don't do those things, it could be something that's, yeah.
Hold on, you lost camera. Alright, this is camera 2. Oh, let me on the wall. Okay, we back.
So yeah, so when it's something as small as I haven't eaten today, that negative emotion from that is not worth you going around feeling and dwelling in that, and then by the time you interact with someone else, you rub them the wrong way.
Yeah.
It could be, your spouse, it could be a boss or a co-worker, and it causes strife within the environment. So knowing these things about yourself is important, because it could be something that small that if it goes unchecked, that could be what your downfall is, right? Yeah. And it creates a domino effect. So, yes, when you ask me how important reflection is, it's very important.
Yeah.
Very important.
Nice. So, and like, I think we kind of touched on it a little bit. Growth is not really like slow or fast. It's kind of like, it's kind of situational, you know, depending on person to person.
Growth is constant.
Oh.
If you are a person who is used to things having a set start and a set end, get that out your head right now.
Mm-hmm.
Be able to embrace things that continue.
Yeah.
And not only do they continue, but they evolve.
Mm-hmm.
So it's ever changing and it's ongoing. It might not look the same, and that might be a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
That shows whether or not you're improving.
Yeah.
You know, you want to know are things getting better or things getting worse. But it's always a process.
So like, what are some like key things to look out for to show like, okay, things have progressed?
You just feel at peace.
Mm-hmm.
You feel balanced when things start coming into your life effortlessly because you're not blocking them.
Yeah, that part right there. Like sometimes we can block our blessings, and it's really just from like our mindset. Because I think from this. Okay, so I don't know if I've talked on here. Like I have a podcast, but on my podcast, we were kind of talking about how like your aura and your energy and how it all kind of starts with your mind. And that, and if you have like a negative mindset, you're gonna be operating at a low frequency, and so you're not going to be able to see those opportunities or to be really receptive to them because your frequency is not where it needs to be to actually fully take advantage of those opportunities, you know? Mm-hmm. So I definitely that is a really great point you make.
And also, I want to say, like, when you start thinking in things of like frequencies or your vibration and everything like that, one thing I wish I didn't get too caught up in is trying to always be on a high vibration.
Yeah.
You're gonna have those low moments.
It's a part of life.
Sometimes I still feel like, oh, maybe I'm in a low frequency right now in my life. And you know, at those moments, you have to take stock of what you do have.
Yeah.
That's where gratitude comes into place. And also realizing that you might not have what they have.
Yeah.
Right? But what if someone was thinking that about you? What if somebody was sitting here, oh shit, someone has what I was supposed to get? Someone sitting there thinking that way about me. You have to ask yourself those questions and start sometimes frame it the other way around, right?
Yeah.
From a different perspective, because it was meant for you to have.
Yeah.
Whatever you have in your life right now, whether you feel like you're in a good space, whether you feel like you're in a bad space right now, take stock of what you have because that was meant for you.
Okay. Yeah.
And you know, celebrate it when other people get their comeuppance.
Yeah.
Because that was meant for them. And everything is divinely placed, I believe.
Yeah.
So you get what you need. And if that person has, if you got it, you might not really want it.
That part. Yeah, I definitely believe in that wholeheartedly. Everything happens divinely timed and like the way it needs to be. Like I'm such a big believer in that. And like you really cannot compare like your cards that you were given to at the beginning of life compared to someone else's. Like we all have our own hands and we all know how to play our hands, you know?
Right.
And like that's also like another big thing because like we could have the same cards, but how I use my card might be slightly different, you know what I'm saying? Like, real talk. But yeah, definitely like comparison definitely is the thief of joy. And comparison can be good sometimes to let you know, okay, hey, you know, I want to be where she's at. I'm not quite there yet, so that's when comparison's kind of good to let you know, okay, have you made progress or where you want to be. But don't let it be to the point where it's like, it comes to a point of like you're being judgmental or like ridiculing yourself in like a negative space, you know?
Yeah.
Use it to motivate you not to feel bad.
Yeah, don't be chasing what other people have. You know, There's you can admire people, admire how they do what they do. Ask them, oh, how'd you get that? And you can talk to people. Don't be afraid. You know, we're all on the same playing field, and we all eating shit at the end of the day. So don't be afraid to, go up to that person and say, hey, I see what you're doing. I appreciate what you're doing. I'm actually kind of impressed. Like, you mind sharing your journey with me?
Yeah.
And through that, you might find out that it's not all it's cracked up to be. You might learn how much work it takes to get there.
Okay, that's hard.
And you might want to back down and be like, yeah, you got that. Yeah, like for example, when I was working in retail, I wanted to, be a manager for the longest time because I was like, I feel like I'm a good leader. I know what I'm doing. I could talk to people, communicate with them. I can delegate tasks and all that. And then I got into a position where I was like the person to go to. I wasn't like a manager. That wasn't my title, but I was a resident assistant on campus. Yeah. So it's like, do I really want to manage people? It sounds nice. Like, it sounds like, oh, I'm going to get the respect and all that. No, it's people. They're you have to deal with all of their problems, everything that they're going through. You have to be the person that takes it all in. Yeah. It's more than what it's cracked up to be, and I always thought like, oh, it's gonna be cool to be the boss. Yeah. Being the boss is more about them than it is about you. You have to be more sacrificing. You have to sacrifice your time, your energy, and you basically have to dedicate yourself to that role. So that's something you really want to do. You have to be able to know that you may have to work extra hours at night. Yeah. You may have to stop what you're doing and you get a call at 4 a.m. or you have to close and open, because that's yours. Yeah. That's your team and you gotta show up. And you gotta be there for the people no matter what they're going through. And managing people is another beast. Yeah. It's another beast. I thought it was cute until I started doing it. And how I don't even really go out and, worry too much about it anymore. I'm kind of chill just being on the team. Yeah. Oh, God, we lost camera one. Okay, and we back. Okay. It's just enough managing yourself, managing your own life.
Yes, that part. Okay. Like, I guess that's one thing I'm kind of realizing with me, kind of pursuing my film career and everything, because I definitely want to go into the film industry. I want to do a little bit of both, like behind the camera and on the camera, because I love directing and DP and production design. I love that aspect. But also, I want to do the camera too. Like, yeah, that's starting some home rock, But when it comes to like directing and like DP and all that, I'm kind of realizing like it's easy for me to direct myself when it comes to other people. I'm a kind of a people pleaser, and so when it comes to all that, and also too, I've been doing some reflecting when I've had like, leadership positions. I wouldn't say I don't know how to lead, but I definitely do have some hesitations when it comes to me being like assertive and everything, and I'm still like a little like self-conscious around it, and I'm working on it, But that's definitely something I realized when I would step into those positions, the leadership positions, and like everyone would be like, yes, man, you'd be so great for that, like always get nominated for it, recommended for it. And I just realized when I would get those positions, I wouldn't really like know what to do, or like really, I feel like to my opinion, I wasn't being a good leader. I wasn't really like step into my full potential, you know. Just because I have some of those people pleasing tendencies and a little like inhibitions when it comes to being assertive and stuff like that. And so, you know, I'm realizing my areas I have to grow in, where I need to work on to be who I want to be, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's why you have that experience.
Yeah.
So that's what goes back to saying, like, even your weaknesses are really not your weaknesses.
Okay.
They're potential strengths. They're just what you need to work on right now, and maybe you needed to find out what they are, and they have to be revealed to you.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that's your goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Being a director, being a producer, and you're just starting out. So you're learning how to continue that, and how to have longevity.
Mm-hmm.
So now you know, like, okay, I gotta bust some balls now. Like, I can't be so nice. You're not gonna get nice Simone. You're gonna get director Simone. And you still, I mean, look at, like, look, y'all. Simone has this whole set of, like, this whole 2-camera system going on. What is it, like, this whole light stand? She's doing the thing, okay?
Thank you.
Alright, yeah, alright, so, you know, some things you have to get your your hands dirty and learn.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to embrace that and bounce back. And be like, okay, like, I didn't like that. I didn't like this feeling at all. Okay. And you might want to step back and, like, alright, kind of feel like, oh, I don't really want to do this again. Just take time, you know, think about it in a different way, and be like, okay, so what's the lesson here?
Yeah. Hold on, we lost camera 2. Okay. Okay, we're back. But yes, as you were saying, what's the lesson here?
So, I mean, the lesson, it'll always be what you need, and it'll click. It'll click.
Yeah.
You'll be like, oh, okay, that's what I was supposed to get from that. And that's me. Just don't be hesitant to go for what you want, but also, if things don't go the way you plan, don't beat yourself up about it.
And like, definitely be flexible with it too. Cause like, make a good point when things don't go as you plan. It's kind of like this is a really good example. It's kind of a little bit like a minor. But I know it was like 2 years ago. I was planning with a disco diva for for Halloween, and when I originally thought about the outfit, the look, like I wanted to have a blonde afro wig. I was gonna do like kind of give like Beyonce's like Austin Powers her gold outfit. Like that was a vision for it. But what ended up happening was like, the blonde wig I had ordered on Amazon came in late, or it was gonna come in like after the Halloween party, so I had to go to the store and just get like a black afro. And then I found like these like red velvet bottoms, and I found this like cute, it's like the base was white and it had like purple like, spots on it, and it was a cute little top. And I'm like, hey, wow, this is not how I originally envisioned the look, but this is still giving the look the essence and everything I wanted it to give. And then I like to make a point saying how like basically like your failures, like you learn a lot, like that's how you grow. I know for me, like my freshman year of college is my intro to media production class. I had one of my vlogs I had turned in late, I got a 0 for it, and I'm like freaking out, I'm like, oh my gosh, like how am I gonna pass this class? And my professor's like, it's okay, like, we'll be able to get an A. So basically around that semester, this is when COVID had just hit, but we had an extra credit opportunity to do like some Photoshop tutorials. And I'm looking back on it now, if I had never got that 0 on that vlog, I would never did those Photoshop tutorials. And while doing those Photoshop tutorials, like I learned how to use Photoshop, and I even learned more skills when it comes to like temperature, like color grading, and it kind of helped me better being a photographer and photo editing. And so I'm just kind of realizing, like, damn, Simone, if we hadn't got those 0s, we wouldn't have had those extra credit opportunities, and we wouldn't have gained those skills and gotten more experience and gotten comfortable using Photoshop. And so it's like stuff like that. When I do my reflection, I'm like, damn, you know, I'm glad I messed up then, because if I hadn't gone through those failures, I wouldn't have gained those lessons, you know?
And Simone, that's living. That is living. That is what life is about. You want to know what life is about? That's what life is about. Okay? That's why they say you live and you learn. That's what it is. That's what you're here on this earth to do. And you also have to think about it too. It's like when you're in the process of learning, you have to remember this. This world is so big.
Yeah.
You know, there's always so much happening. You know, you're just this little speck on the planet, a little speck in the universe, and you can't get hung up on, you know, what you did, what you didn't do, what you could have done better, and what people are gonna think about you, and like, oh, I really fucked that up, or something like that. You know, you just have to take it like, oh, this is life. This is life, and that just shows that I'm doing things, I'm trying things, right? And some things are not always going to work out, but everything that I'm doing is always in working out in my favor at the end of the day.
Yeah, thanks. Yes. A quote I think I like to kind of bring up. It's from, I think this is a really popular Disney movie, Meet the Robinsons. But like, like their big motto was like, oh, we love failure because without failure, like, how do you learn? And like, I just love that movie, and like the main character, I definitely relate to him a lot because like, I think we all can relate to him. We all have felt that way, you know?
And look, Meet the Robinsons I think it's underrated, but it was such a keen, I guess, interpretation of what life is, right? Yeah. So you can either be, what was his name? The blonde hair kid, or you can be
Blue,
whatever his name was. The blonde hair guy.
Okay. He had some issues, and like, but you really see like with him, like he just kept like venting on it. He did not grow. He was still in his same clothes. They did not fit him. He had outgrown his clothes, but he was still holding on to them.
You're holding on.
Yes.
So that's another thing. So look, there's one thing on reflecting. That's another thing. Let's get this. Like, if there's one thing that you take away, let it be this: that reflecting is always positive and working out in your favor. Now, when you're ruminating on something, you're ruminating and you're reflecting technically, but you're reflecting on the negative of that situation. It takes effort and on your part to try to acknowledge the positive. It doesn't happen naturally. You're not always going to see the positive in a negative situation. No, you're gonna want to ruminate on it naturally. It takes work, it takes effort, and it takes living life to learn how to even do that.
Yeah.
And communicate with yourself in that way.
No, definitely for sure, because like where I'm at now compared to where I was at like 2 years ago, like my mindset now, I don't think I would have had picked out or picked up on certain things and like just hold space for certain emotions and just been able to better navigate through like certain situations, you know what I'm saying? And it's so crazy to like look back on that and be like, wow, I've grown a lot, and I can't believe like I really thought that way. I used to like operate that way, you know? It's very like, I definitely think it's a beautiful one when you see your growth and your progress for sure. But then it's still just like a little, aha, like, wow. Wow. I did that. That's crazy. What? I wouldn't do that now. Wow. Okay.
Yes. And then you learn to appreciate that. Yeah. And that teaches you how to have more gratitude. It's just all a cycle. You know, you can either be spiraling upward or you can be spiraling downward. Okay?
And like
on you.
Yes, and we have so much power, so much more say so into our life and how things unfold. Then we realize a lot of times we were like, oh, yeah, this just happened to me, and this and that. No, baby, you're allowing it to happen. Like you have a lot of power and say so in how your life unfolds. You just have to realize that and take hold of it. Take action.
Yeah, even if, sometimes stuff happens to people, yes.
Yeah.
If you're in a situation where it was just uncontrollable and, you find out you're down bad, like, it's still in your hands. Mm-hmm. You're still responsible for the life that you're going to live, the experience and what you're going to leave behind for people. Yeah. You're responsible for that at the end of the day. So you have to, even if it takes, years for you to get back up on your feet, you have to realize that, I might be in a bad spot right now. But I have the strength and the wherewithal within myself, the experience, the knowledge, I have the talent. That's where acknowledging these things, finding out what you have to offer this world. What are your strengths? What are your talents? Because that'll help you when you are in that experience when all you have is yourself.
Yeah. For sure. Here we go. We lost camera 1, camera 2 again. But that's okay because that part I'm gonna use that camera. Our card is full. Okay.
Okay. How long was it say that?
It just said it.
Okay. I got another one.
Okay. Actually, I'm gonna take a little bathroom break too. Too much longer. What were you just talking about? Okay. And we back.
Hold on a second.
I gotcha. We're all good, sis. Is this only going for 13 minutes? I hope not.
What happened?
No, it's my audio.
Okay.
But no, these drinks are a little strong. I don't know where you're feeling yet. It's calm. 229. Probably skin.
Damn. Okay. Ooh, where were we? You did the SE. Okay.
Yeah, what were we just talking about?
I don't know what I say.
I was talking about reflecting about life and
Yeah, I guess like knowing your strengths helps you when you only have yourself to rely on.
yeah. Damn. Okay. I just continuity.
My brain.
I know.
That's another thing that happens.
But
You start forgetting things.
Yeah, but it's okay because
Ooh, excuse me.
Literally ended on your last statement, so I can always just kind of cut it to the next question.
Yeah.
I know what to do. Yeah. But yeah, definitely playing to your strength and everything. I'm trying to think of another experience I've had. I mean, I've definitely had I want to say like a lot of failures in college, but you know, like shoot, I've gotten like zeros on like grades, and it's just like you know that past sample, you know, never got a zero. When we do like extra credit assignment, we have like learn those extra skills and everything. So everything definitely does come full circle.
And
so
I actually, sorry, I want to make another point too, is like even like, you know, in your school, you get a zero or something. Sometimes you take the L because you're doing something that's more worthwhile, right? Yeah. So also a part of when we're talking about learning lessons, getting lessons out of what happens in life, right? You learn not to put so much weight on things as you used to. Yeah. You know, like things just aren't that big of a deal to you once you elevate to a different stage in your life. And that's also a way to tell when you've grown or not. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely for sure. Like even for me too, like I definitely am handling just certain things better. And I'm like, wow. Simone, like, okay, girl, you really have grown. Like, because 2 years ago, you would not have reacted or handled the situation the way you did. And, like, that's progress. And I feel like when it comes to growth, too, sometimes when, I think I saw this one Instagram post, basically it was, like, the girl, like, she was walking. It's, like, it seems like she hasn't made a lot of progress, but then like they zoomed out and you can see like she's like the mountain, like the hill she's on. And so I feel like when it comes to life and like just going through life day to day, it feels like we haven't made any progress. But when it comes to reflecting, you look back on it, because like this definitely has been like really occurring to me recently. Just looking to where I'm at now this summer compared to last summer. Like last summer I was contemplating starting my YouTube channel, getting it started up, and now I'm actually like doing it and I'm like being consistent with it. And just what more confidence in me as a content creator and a creative in general, I've come a long way. And so I feel like when it comes to like day to day, you may not see the progress, but when you take the time and sit down and think about the whole year and look back and be like, whoa, okay, I fully see it now. You know, I see the big picture. So I definitely feel when it comes to growth and you're reflecting on that, you have to look at the big picture. Don't just focus on like just day to day, just current things, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, be able to see the big picture. That's what it's all about, I guess. Because not only will it help you guide you to where you need to go next, but like I said, it's just always maintaining that awareness of how you're playing into this experience, how other people are playing into your experience, and knowing what the needs are and what the boundaries are for those around you, because it all is to help you be a better you at the end of the day. Yeah.
Okay, so I think I just kind of ask some more like personal questions, and then like we'll kind of like wrap up. But like what ways or areas do you want to grow in?
That's a good question. So areas I want to grow in. So I talked about, getting your feet wet. You may want something and then you try it out and then you realize what it really takes to have that. I grasp that. I learned that it's good to know what it takes beforehand. Like the dream is cute, it's sweet. What does it take to achieve that dream realistically? I learned to have that real conversation with myself. Now, my challenge is learning how to take things as far as they can go and not just stop or come to a standstill. I really do have to work out some of the fear behind achieving success. It sounds crazy, but it's real. It's like, okay, what if I try this thing and it works, and now I have to keep doing it because people will want more. So it's me being able to embrace that and wrap my head around it, and then actually do it. So yeah, that's kind of like what I'm working on now. But I can say that and I can talk about it confidently and without shame, because growth.
Yes. Okay. Yes. I love to see it.
And sometimes, even if you want to think about your life as a businesses have to figure out what the competition is doing. Where are we falling short? They have to be able to, come to that those board meetings and be able to talk straight. You got to be like that too with yourself.
Point blank period. And like I think we've been really drilling this message in the whole episode, but like your relationship with yourself is just so important because it affects all your other relationships. And like, if you can't be real with yourself, be honest with yourself, hold yourself accountable, how can you expect other people to do that for you, you know? And especially it's like when you give yourself the love that you're seeking, it's a better, not a testament, but, you know, a better reference. Yes, for sure. Because it's like, wow, okay, I know how it feels when I give myself love, I give myself attention, when I'm holding myself accountable, when I'm giving myself, like, even discipline, too. Because, like, and how I'm talking down to myself, you know, reprimanding myself. I know how that feels, how I want to be spoken to, treated, and handled and everything. And so then you better know who to deal with and who not to deal with, you know?
Right. So all of this, when you reflect more, it'll not only, you know, show you the things that you do want and deserve and need, but it'll also show you what you don't want and what you won't take from people or even from yourself. So it's very important. You got to know the ins and outs.
Okay. Yes. So like, what are some things that kind of help you get through like the down moments, the dark moments when it comes to growth and everything? Like, what are some things that kind of help you get through those moments?
So I've kind of been going through down moments now. You know, it can be stressful. It can be stressful. I'm not gonna lie. But I learned that it's while sometimes, yeah, I will, depending on the situation, I will allow myself to feel and be in that moment, because sometimes you need to. Sometimes you gotta have that good cry. You know, you need to be like that kind of recluse, and you have to settle down, conserve your energy, slow down. And you might be a little sad during that time. You might even be a little depressed. And that's okay to allow yourself that, as long as you're giving yourself grace and addressing your needs while you're allowing yourself to go through that feeling. Shoot, I lost my train of thought. So what I do is I just show up for myself. I have to remember to remind myself that also that people care about me and that I'm not alone. Even if it sucks, you know, asking people for help sometimes, you know, they're like, oh my God, you always need help. Let them say what they're going to say. You got to get through this. You got to get through this. And if they have the help, you know, they're going to bash on you, whatever. You got to remind yourself. Okay. Yeah. So this is where that work comes in handy, because, you know, you learn a lot about people when you're going through a hard time. You know, people always say, well, I'm here for you, I'm there for you. And they may be, but they may not be so kind when they're doing it. So they might, you know, kick you when you're down and then be like, here, take the hand out. So that's where that work comes in. That's where, when you have that thought of, oh my goodness, I'm not that person I used to be anymore. How I would have reacted then is not how I reacted now. When you take stock of the growth that you've experienced, it makes those blows hurt less, to the point where you don't even feel it. You're just like, okay, well, talk your shit. You just talking shit. And really, that's a reflection on them more than it is on you. You people have hard times. You know, people, you know, they lose their jobs. They fall on financial hardship. People even get addicted to substances. And it's, you know, things could get really tough. But you have to sit in it. You have to be like, don't panic. Yeah. Don't panic. You have to relax. You breathe. Come back to yourself. Ground yourself. Don't get all caught up in your head. It's easy to do that, especially when there's a lot going on. Say, hey, you have to fight it, really. It's a battle. You have to fight that feeling. So it could be something as simple as journaling, just to snap out of it. That can reset everything. And then you can think clearly. So when you think clearly, you'll be able to plan and strategize. Okay, what do I need to do next? Because this isn't sustainable. You know, I can't sit and just feel my feelings all day. It's not how this works. You know, you got bills to pay. So you have to get up and do something. You have to take care of yourself. So that also goes into inner child work. I feel like when we get caught up in our emotions, that's us wanting to retreat and, you know, want to be nurtured. When you don't have a parent and you don't have those adult figures, you are the adult figure now. You have to learn how to take up that mantle. And it sounds weird, but you have to be able to nurture yourself and sometimes parent yourself. You have it within you. We all do, even if we don't realize it sometimes. That's why those moments are important, because you learn how to build compassion for yourself. And it just makes, you know, it will expand into your outward world, but it all starts within you. So going through those hard times will suck. But, you know, if you navigate it with grace, it can end up being a big blessing at the end of the day. Just having that knowledge of yourself, knowing that you made it through. And yeah, maybe you had to ask for help, and it wasn't always pleasant all the time asking for help. But you learn the people that you can rely on. And then you learn, how can I also have grace if someone else is going through this? Yeah.
Definitely, for sure. That's definitely, and it just comes to like reflection in general, because, you know, like the people you encounter, everyone's like essentially mirrors of you. And so when it comes to like reflecting, like sometimes there's like certain things where I'm like, man, I don't know why people always like, why they react to me this certain way. But then it's like sometimes I'll encounter someone who has a certain trait that like causes that reaction from people, and I'm like, okay, I get it now. I see why. So then it's like it's easier for me to give them more empathy, to hold space for them, and for me to have more understanding for them. You know what I'm saying? And so yes, that's why I love just reflecting. It just lets you have more grace and empathy, and not be just come from a neutral point of view in life. You know? Yeah.
And I know, like, when you're first starting out and you're just growing up, you might be going through growing pains, because you're learning how to build your life. You know, you're not in school no more. You don't have people scheduling out your day. Like, that's all on you. And it's hard to realize that, you know, there was a whole setup beforehand, and now it's all on you.
That part, that's like a rude awakening. And okay, and I'm definitely going to be talking about this, definitely kind of more like, that kind of ties with like self-discipline. And that's something like I definitely kind of like realized and kind of got into like a rut, you can say, after when I transferred to Kennesaw and I moved out and everything. I realized that I'm like, oh, whoa, Simone. And also too, when I had transferred, I kind of like, I wouldn't say it was the end of my cheer career. I don't really know my cheer career, like if it's over or not, but like it's definitely kind of postponed. I kind of wasn't cheering anymore. I had an injury too. And so like not having cheer and not having like that structure, I had to give it to myself. Like it was hard. It was definitely challenging for sure. And to be that adult person, to be like, okay, Smell, like you got to do this and that. It's hard to give yourself that structure, that discipline, but it's possible. But is it hard? Yes.
It takes work. You know, happiness takes work. Yes. It doesn't just come the more you wish for it. You have to build a stable life for yourself. Aim for stability in your relationships. What happened? Sorry. Okay. Always prepared.
Okay. But yes, we held up. Reflecting and growing.
Yes. So always aim for stability in life. And once you learn how to build stability, things will just fall into place. Even if something, you know, you end up at a fork in the road, you'll be better prepared to handle that. You'll be better prepared to handle, you know, and you start living in fear. You know that things are gonna happen, so you kind of, you know, you become a boss in that way. You're like, all right.
I've been here before.
Like, all right. Some things you just kind of, it becomes less of like, oh no, and like, oh okay, all right, I knew you were coming. Okay, and it just, you know, I kind of want to think about it in terms of, you know, if you're bad at math or something. Or multiplication, you know, these little tests we would get, they would time us, and you do as many problems as you can. That's kind of like a metaphor for life in a way. You know, we're all on this set timer, and we have to get through each of these little problems in life. But the more we do it, the easier it becomes. The more expert we become at that. So, you know, it all comes with time. You know, don't, like, even after watching this video, don't stress out. Like, just live your life. Things are gonna take time. And really, I say around 25 is when you start noticing you coming more into your own power. Yeah, sometimes, you know, people are different. It happens sooner, it may happen later, but I'd say around 25, your mindset will start to shift because you're like, oh God, I'm almost 30. It's like, you get to that quarter life stone, and you know, you'll start thinking about things differently. I guarantee it. You know, you start moving different. You just start moving different. You'll have more of a sense of your own mortality. So, you know, you won't put yourself in so many situations, so many red flag situations where you're like, why did I do that in the first place? Yes. Right. You start thinking about your health care, so, you know, things start to change. Your life will evolve. You will get there. You will get there.
Okay. I feel we talked a lot about reflection and growth, honestly.
Yes.
We had a lot of great points. Do you have any last words, any last things you want to say?
Me.
Okay. Actually, usually I always do like a recap of like just like key points. So like, what are some key points that you feel like that people need to know when it comes to like, reflection and growth?
So, it's hard to answer that question because reflection and growth, once you do one act, it plays into the next, into the next, into the next, and it's a domino effect.
Yeah.
And it can go both ways. It can go, in a light, positive way, or it can go in a dark, negative way. So keep that in mind. That the more you work on it, the more exponential growth you will experience. It compounds and gets better, gets easier when you start to do that reflection. Also, I'd say start by just going around and expressing gratitude more. Start looking at the little things in life, not the big things. It's the little things. It's like, it's a hug from someone you really care about. It's getting to watch your favorite show after a long day. Cooking yourself a good meal.
You made just a tea or something.
Some tea. Yes. Something that smells good. Have a nice perfume. Dress nice. Just in a way that makes you feel good. It's those little things in life that are the things that are worth protecting, not the things that we get caught up in. As long as I am able to have that moment where I can find the beauty in life, I can always get through anything. I can always re-center myself and get that strength back, recharge. So learn by taking steps. Take steps to acknowledge these things and have gratitude. I know, you'll hear every spiritual guru, everybody say this, but it's the truth. They don't say it because it sounds cliche, but it's really true. And then you'll be able to open yourself up and receive what you need to know, or what you need to hear to be able to elevate from that situation in life. But yes, and also, other than being just thankful for what you have, I don't know, everything really ties. I will say, look into finding ways to open up. If you don't have that avenue, you don't even start talking. That's probably, I would say, step one. Because when I started going to therapy, that really changed my life. Some people will be like, oh, therapy sucks or whatever. Even if you think it sucks, give it a try. You can try group therapy. Sometimes that's a lot easier to kind of, adapt to, because you're there with other people. And it's not you all just sitting there being miserable, talking about your problems. It actually helps. It actually, it gives you some practice on how to speak about what you're feeling to other people who probably look like you and are the same age as you, think the way you do. So it gives you kind of like a practice on how to talk about those things. But if you don't give yourself that avenue, whether it's therapy or something else, you're really gonna have a hard time. Like, that's where you start. That's where you start. You start by speaking, talking, acknowledging, and not being in your head all the time.
Yes, because like your head, is one of the, I think a really, one of my spiritual books, and definitely think it's a really great book during your spiritual journey. It's very eye-opening. It's called The Untethered Soul. It's by Michael. Hold on, look at his name. It's Michael something, but basically.
Untethered Soul.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, so basically it was saying, crap, I forgot where I was going with this. We were talking about
It's being able to talk.
open. Damn, I really forgot where I was going with this.
Yes, The Untethered Soul, The Journey Beyond Self.
Yes, by Michael
Singer.
Singer?
Yes.
Yes. I really forgot about it.
And that's okay.
That's okay. You know what? And like, when something like that happens, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I just was not meant to say it right then and there. So
It'll come back to you like when you're laying in bed at night, like that's what.
Yes,
Oh.
but maybe it's just time for me to kind of to wrap up this video.
But y'all just I would just say, remember that you are loved. You know, even sometimes you may be going to situations where you feel like, oh my God, like I'm just being attacked from every which way. Remember, there's love surrounding you. You may not see it that way, you know. You may not recognize the people who are there, who are spreading that love to you, but it's always around you, you know. So always keep that in mind. You can always think about, you know, who you love, who you want to be there for, you know, who you want to fight to be here for, and let that kind of carry you through your hardships and when you are trying to get better.
For sure.
But you are gonna get better. You're gonna get better.
So what goes
Up must come down. What comes down must go up. Okay? Point blank period. Yes. But y'all, honestly, like this episode, I really just enjoyed this whole episode, just creating it and everything. And like reflection and growth, that's just a really big part of life, and just and evolution in general, you know, becoming who you want to be, who you're meant to be. And so I really hope you've got a lot of great takeaways from this video. If you have your own experience about reflection, your own point of your comments, please leave it down in the comment section. You know, I'd love to hear y'all's perspective, your point of views. Please do. You can also reach out to me on Instagram at I am Simone Brock. Okay, and Aaleah, you want to drop your socials?
So my social media is, I just have Instagram, so you can follow me at little. All right, what did I have to say my damn social? Okay.
There we go. Okay, we back. And we back.
Okay, so you can follow me on Instagram at little_mental_sky, and that's it.
But yes, if y'all want to like have any more questions or want to reach out or just kind of like have your own conversations with us about reflection and growth, you have our socials. Please reach out to us. We would love to talk to y'all. Of course, you know, we want to just spread the wealth, okay?
Also, follow my work on GeorgiaRecorder.com.
Yes. But yes, girl, or y'all. This has been another episode, another video on my channel. Like I said, you know, drop your comments, your thoughts, your point of views in the comment section. I'll get back to y'all. I love to hear from y'all. And I'll see y'all next time.